Question 5. Question 5 says simplify root x over root x plus y plus root y over root x minus y. So what we need to do is we need to basically find a common denominator, and the common denominator will be the first denominator multiplied by the second denominator. So I'm going to have a common denominator here, so I'm going to draw a line. So that will be root of x plus root of y, all in bracket, and close bracket, times root of x minus root of y, open and close bracket. The first fraction here, the first denominator has root x plus root y, but it doesn't have root x minus root y. Therefore, I have to multiply root x minus root y by root x. So root x was there. I need to multiply it by root x minus root y. That's what it doesn't have, so I have to multiply it by that. Plus, now this one has root x minus root y, but it doesn't have root x plus root y, so I have to multiply root y by root x plus root y. If you're confused about what I've just done, if I have 2 over 3 plus 5 over 4, what I'll then do is I'll do 3 times 4, which is 12. So it's the same thing. 3 times 4 is 12, so that's 12. Remember that 12 is 3 times 4. Now, if I'm doing the first fraction, the 3 doesn't have 4. It has 3, but it doesn't have 4. So I have to multiply 4 by 2. What it doesn't have, I multiply by 2 in their common denominator, so it'll be 2 times 4. Plus, the 4 doesn't have, the 5 doesn't have 3, but it has 4, so I have to do 5 times 3. So that's what I've done here. That case, I then need to expand the brackets, but the denominator bracket has remind me of difference of two squares, difference of two squares, which I call dots, which means that a squared minus b squared is a plus b times a minus b. So that's what we call difference of two squares, difference of this square and that square, difference of two squares. So I've got that here, which means let me do the top first. The top is root x times root x. As you know from law of indices, root a times root a is a. So that will be x, root x times root x. And also you know that root a times root b is root ab. So root x times minus root y will be minus root xy, plus root y times root x will be root xy. Then root y times root y will be plus y all over. Now root x plus root y and times root x minus root y reminds me of difference of two squares here, where a is my root x and y is my root, and b is my root y, and therefore that would be root x squared plus minus root y squared. Root x squared is x, so that would be x, and root y squared is y. What I meant is root x squared will be root x times root x, which is x from the law of indices here, and root y squared will be root y times root y, which is y. So that will be x, but because it's difference, so that will be x minus y. Now minus root xy minus root xy plus root xy will cancel each other. So the final answer would be x minus plus y over x minus y. Question 6. Question 6 says solve the simultaneous equations. The first thing we need to do is to label that equation 1, and this is equation 2. Right. So now what I need to do, because they're simultaneously solving them, I need to basically make one of the variables x or y the same in each equation. So this is 3x and this is root x, 5 root x, root 5 times x. Now I want to make 2y and 2y the same, obviously. So there'll be 2y here, which means I need to multiply the whole of equation 2 by 2. Or I could try and make the equation 1 the same, but it's a bit difficult to do that. It's not that it's difficult, but it's making y the same is easier. So I'm going to multiply equation 2. So I will say multiply here. I will say multiply equation 2 by 2. So that instruction is important because it's telling the examiner what I'm doing. So I will go 2 root 5x plus 2y will be equal to 24 plus 8 root 5. And I'm going to call that a new equation, which is equation 3. So that's equation 1. Now, what I do want to do now is I want to take equation 1, or take equation 3 away from equation 1 from equation 3. So I would say 3 take away equation 1. So I have to bring down my equation 1 again, which is 3x plus 2y equals 23 plus 5 root 5. So now I'm going to take away. The reason why I'm taking away is because this is plus 2y and this is plus 2y. I'm trying to eliminate y. So that's what my first thing is, to eliminate y. So that's why I'm multiplying it by 2 to eliminate y. So I'm trying to eliminate y. And so I'll draw a line. And I'm going to say 2 root 5x minus 3x. So that will be 2 root 5x minus 3x. 2y minus 2y is 0. And that will be equal to 24 minus 23. So that will be 1. 8 root 5 minus 3 root 5. That will be plus 3 root 5. Let me just say that again. 8 root 5 minus 5 root 5. That's 3 root 5. Now, so I then need to simplify this. Now, x is a common factor here. X is common. So I'll take x out as a common factor. And I'll get 2 root 5 minus 3 equals to 1 plus 3 root 5. So what I need to do now is to rearrange and make x the subject. So x will become 1 plus 3 root 5 over 2 root 5 minus 3. Now I have got a surd in place here. So because I've got a surd, I now need to rationalize the denominator. That means I need to remove surds from the denominator. So I need to times that by the conjugate of the denominator. So which means I'll do 2 root 5 plus 3 over 2 root 5 minus 3. So now I'm going to remove the surds from the both side from the denominator, and that will be now the denominator, so plus that is a remnant of difference of two squares, because I remember now that's a difference of two squares, which means difference of two squares is a squared minus b squared equals a plus b and a minus b. So I've got a and b there. So now I'm going to write the denominator as 2 root 5 squared minus 3 squared. And that's the denominator. Now 2 root 5 squared will be 4 times root 5 squared. Root 5 squared is 5 times 5, and that will be 20. So I should be getting 20 minus 9. Okay, now in the numerator, so we get 1 times 2 root 5, that will be 2 root 5. 1 times 3, that will be plus 3. And then I'll get 3 root 5 times 2 root 5, that will be plus 6 times 5. So that will be 6 times 5, which is 30. And I'll also be getting 3 root 5 times 3, so that will be plus 9 root 5. And 9 root 5 plus 2 root 5 is 11 root 5. 9 plus 2 is 11. 5 oranges, and 2 oranges plus 9 oranges, 11 oranges. And then I've got 30. So I got 30 plus 3, so that's plus 30. And now, so what I need to do is, the difference here will be, or if I just write it here, so that will be equal to 33, by the way, 33. And that's equal to, 11 is a common factor here. So if I take 11 out over root of 5 plus 3, so 5 root 5 plus 3 over 11, because 20 minus 9 is 11. 11 cancels 11, so I get, final answer would be 3 plus root of 5. So that's what x equals to. So x equals to 3 plus root of 5. Because x is 3 root 5, I need to substitute that into equation, say, 2 to find y. So I would say, let let me just do it there, sub, let me just do this. So I would say substitute x equals 3 plus root 5 into equation 2. In that case, I would have, so if I rearrange this equation 2, I would have my y equals, because I need to find y, so y equals 12 plus 4 root 5 minus root 5x. So I need to basically put my x in there, so that'll be equal to what's x, so that'll be 12, so that'll be 12 plus 4 root of 5 minus root 5 into bracket x into bracket 3 plus root 5, and that will be equal to, so this is y now, I'm solving for y now, so that will be equal to 12 plus 4 root 5 minus 3 root 5, that's 3 times minus root 5 is minus 3 root 5, minus root 5 times root 5 is 5, and I will get my y to be, well, basically 12 minus 5 is 7, 4 root 5 minus 3 root 5 is 1 root 5, so that's plus root of 5, and that's what y equals to. So y is 7 plus root 5. Question 7. 3 numbers are given as 5 minus 2 root m, 10 plus 9 root m, and n root m, where m and n are positive constants. A, the mean of the 3 numbers is 5 plus 4 root m. What is the value of n? And B, the range of the 3 numbers is 5 plus 11 root m. What range of values can m take? Right, to find these questions, so let's just draw a line. So I'm going to do question A here. Now, because I've got 3 numbers, so the first number is that one here, the second number, and the third number. And these numbers have a mean of that. So that means if I add all 3 numbers and divide it by 3, I should get that. So I need to set up that equation. So I'm going to say 5 minus 2 root m plus 10 plus 9 root m plus n root m, all divided by 3, shall be equal to 5 plus 4 root m. So now I need to multiply both sides by 3. But in that case, or cross multiply. So I'll get, well, 5 minus 2 root m plus 10 plus 9 root m plus n root m equals 15 plus 12 root m. Now, I've got, all I need to do is now simplify and find n. 5 plus 10 is 15, so go 15 there. And minus 2 root m, so I'll get plus 7 root m. I would also, if I bring the 12 root m, or if I bring the 15 to this side, or take the numbers to the other side, whichever way I want to do it, I can take the 7, well, let me just say I have plus n root m equals 15 plus 12 root m. Now, all I now need to do is take these numbers to the other side. 15 will cancel 15, so that's easy. Or if I take away 15 from both sides, the 15 will disappear. Now I need to take 7 root m to the other side, so I've got n root m will be equal to 12 root m minus 7 root m, because that will become minus, so that will be 5 root m. Now root m, well, n would then become 5 root m divided by root m, which will become 5. So n equals 5. So for part A, n equals 5. For part B, the range says the range is 5 plus 11m. Now range is largest value, highest value minus smallest value. So range equals highest value minus smallest value. So range equals highest value minus smallest value. And now to find out which is the highest value, my values are 5 minus 2 root m, 10 plus 9 root m, and 5 root m. Obviously the highest value is 10 plus 9 root m. That's the highest value. Now the smallest value is going to be between 5 minus 2 root m and 5 root m. So that's what the smallest value shall be. So let's do this. But it says that 5 plus, it says that the range is 11 plus 5. So let's do the first one. If this is the highest, let's do the highest and the first value here. So if I do 10 plus 9 root m, take away 5 minus 2 root m. Notice that I put that in bracket because it's take away. That should give us, well, according to this, that should give us 5 plus 11 root m. Okay, so let's do that. 5 minus 5 is 5. So if I expand that, so that's, oh, let me just do the proper expansion. 10 plus 9 root m minus 5. So that's 1 times minus 5 is minus 5 plus minus times minus is plus 2 root m, and really, so that will be 10 minus 5 is 5, and 9 root m plus 2 root m is 11 root m. So really, the smallest is 5 plus 11 root m, which is correct, which is 5 plus 11 root m. So that's the range. So that's it says the range of the three numbers is at what range of value can m take. So that's the smallest value there. Now to find, so on this condition, we said that 5 minus 2 root m has to be less than 5 root m. That's the condition we've applied. That it has to be smaller. This has to be the smallest. And therefore, what we now need to do is take the 2 root m to the other side of this inequality. So I will get 5 is less than 5 root m plus 2 root m. All I did was add 2 root m to both sides, and that gave me 5 is less than 7 root m, and therefore root m, 5 over 7 is less than root m. 5 over 7 is less than root m, which implies that if I square both sides, I'll get rid of the root. So that would be 25 over 49 is less than m, which implies that m is greater than, m has to be greater than 25 over 49. So that's the range of value m will take. Question 8. A circular pond has circumference of 10 pi meter. So that's a circular pond here in the center, and it has a circumference of 10 pi meter. A circular path of width x, so the distance from this to there is x. A circular path of width x is going to be built around it, where there is 20 pi meter squared of surfacing material available for the path. Find the maximum possible value of x, given x in the form of a root b plus or minus c, where a, b, and c are integers. So let the radius of the circular pond be r. So we let the radius be r, and therefore the radius, radius of the large circumference to the edge of the path will be r plus x. So what we're now going to say is the circumference of the pond is 2 pi r, which equals 10 pi. So that's what we're given, that the circumference is 10 pi. Now what we need to do is find r. So r will be equal to 10 pi over 2 pi, which will give us 5. Pi cancels pi, 2 goes here 1, 2 goes here 5. Now we know the radius. So the radius is r, and then the radius of the longest circle, the biggest circle, is r plus x. So what we now need to do is to find the area of the path. The area of the path would be the area of the bigger circle minus the area of the smaller circle. So the area of path will be equal to the area of the bigger circle. Now the area of a circle is pi r squared. So the bigger circle is pi r plus x squared. So that's the area of the bigger circle. You then take away the area of the smaller circle, which is pi r squared. And that should be equal to, according to this, it should be equal to 20 pi meters squared. So that's 20 pi. Now we know what r is. So r is 5. So we can have pi 5 plus x squared minus pi 5 squared equals 20 pi. The good thing is pi is common in both of these equations, so we can cancel that pi out. Or if you take pi out, so I've taken pi out, so you're going to get x plus 5 squared. 5 plus x is same as x plus 5 minus 5 squared equals 20. So let me just put the square bracket, equals 20 pi. Pi cancels pi. And then I'm going to have x plus 5 squared minus 25 equals 20. At the same time, I can then do x plus 5 squared equals, add 25 to both sides, so I get 45. And what I need to do is square root both sides to get rid of the squared. So I would have to do x plus 5 squared, if I square root that, equals square root 45. When I square root the numbers, you always get plus or minus, and this square would disappear. So I would then get x plus 5 equals plus or minus root 45. Now root 45 is, we can simplify that. So root of 45 is basically root of 9, the highest perfect square, times 5. And that will give root of 9, so that will be root of 9 times root of 5, which is 3 root 5. So that's the simplified version of root 45. And so I'm going to, let's just put that here. So let me just draw this line here to put that here. And so I would have x plus 5 equals plus or minus 3 root 5. Then I need to take away x 5 from both sides, or move that 5 to the other side. The sign will change. X will be equal to minus 5 plus or minus 3 root 5. We're trying to find the maximum values of x. So I've got two answers for x here. X1 is minus 5 plus 3 root 5, or x2, which is minus 5 minus 3 root 5. It can't be a negative value because we're saying this path has to be negative. It cannot be. It can only be positive value. So it's got to be that one here. So that has to be the value of x, which means x equals minus 5 plus 3 root 5. If we plug that into calculator, because you're allowed calculator in the exam, I'll turn it on and then put minus 5 plus 3 root of 5, press equal, standard to sort to decimal, so you get 1.7. So roughly x is equal to, and approximately, so it's not an exact value. So this value here is the exact value, and 1.7 is not an exact value. So the maximum possible value of x is roughly 1.7, where your a is equal to, you can see a here is equal to 3 minus 3, 3, and your b is 5, c is 5.